love the red lip.
Yeah, it's my podcasting lip. It's the only time I get to wear lipstick. Well, it's not the only time I could. It's the only time I do. So we do this because it's pointless at work. And I literally don't leave the house otherwise.
Looks gorgeous. It looks gorgeous, nonetheless.
I mean, this is the only one I want to wear, but I have so many lipsticks that I haven't been able to wear. Sorry. Fixing my hair. Okay. Hey, everyone. Welcome to Creepy InQueeries,
A podcast dedicated to all things creepy, spoopy, and true crimey.
With your host, Miss.
And Kevin.
Your friendly neighborhood queers.
Let's dive in. Oh, I like that. That was nice. Yes, that was nice.
Yeah, I like it. It's very nice.
Here we are. Episode 13. Do you think it's going to be an unlucky episode?
No. But yeah, how are you?
I'm good. I am good. Yeah, my weekend was good. We had friends that came over on Friday night. We watched RuPaul's Drag Race. We are in the middle of season 14.
Wonderful.
What is the tea? If you have opinions on last week's episode, drop it in the comments.
Talk to Kevin. Unfortunately, Miss hasn't seen a new season of Drag Race since 2018.
Well, you don't have to tell people that because now our listenership's going to suffer.
It's not because I don't love it. It's because I've been in school. RuPaul is a luxury, which is true.
That's true. But yeah, we're on season 14, and it is coming along.
So there's been like 6 seasons since I last saw it.
Wow. So that tracks.
Maybe one day.
There's like a season or 2 in there that you don't have to like watch. That you can just kind of skip.
Always tell me which ones I need to watch and which ones.
And how was your weekend? Did you do anything outside the bar?
Oh, no.
No. Oh, no.
No, we're so close.
No.
I shouldn't even be talking to you.
I know. We're going to make this a very quick recording this week.
I spent my whole weekend tits deep into corporations and estates.
Where do I pull the rope to have a lever dropped on my face? So if someone were to come to you and say, Miss, I love your story. I want to make your story into a movie. Who would play me and why?
Why are you doing this to me? Who would play you? I don't.
Who would play me?
Okay. Well, do you know who's going to play me? Because I need a minute.
I have some thoughts.
Do you? Oh my God. Am I a jerk because I don't have thoughts? Let's see.
You could say Kate McKinnon and Kevin Drag.
Kate McKinnon and Kevin Drag.
That would work. I'd buy that.
What?
Yes. Could you see? Kate would rock me.
So I'm sorry. So just to take a step back, this is the actress, Kate McKinnon.
Yes.
Is doing Kevin cosplay.
Yes.
I mean, of course she can do it. She can do anything.
And that's why I think she would excel at this.
All right. Okay, so who's playing me? Kate McKinnon and Miss Drag?
Ooh, I would like that too. I would like that because she could play both parts.
She could.
Because they can do, it would be amazing. Think about it.
Yeah, Kate could do both.
I'm also thinking Beanie Feldstein. I think that would be very cute.
I take that.
Yeah?
Yeah, I like her.
Because one day it's going to happen. One day.
My life is going to be a movie.
Is going to be, yes.
Which part?
I can see it now.
That means most of your life is going to be a movie.
I know. How about I play me and someone else plays you?
Oh, okay. You get to play you, but
so I get to relive my life.
But I'll just sit this one out and let Kate McKinnon do it.
Yeah, and I'm so jazzed. I love that we come here each week and we get to talk.
Same.
We get to go over fun stories. Not fun stories, sometimes horribly tragic.
Listen, we have fun telling stories.
We have fun telling the stories to each other.
That doesn't mean that the stories we tell are fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of stories.
Don't you speak of stories.
It is your true crime week on this.
My crew crime
number
week.
13. My crew crime week.
Crew crime. Yeah.
Hashtag crew crime.
Hashtag crew crime. I'm never going to be able to say it right again.
Crew crime.
I'm very excited about this story. And I've never heard of it, but apparently this is like a story that's been around for a little while. I am going to ask you to not look anything up until I tell you to.
I am so ready for this. I cannot tell you how excited I get.
Okay. In early 2017, His Royal Highness Prince Khaled was looking for something new and was looking to move to Miami's Fisher Island, one of America's wealthiest and most exclusive communities, with residents like Oprah Winfrey and Julia Roberts. Real estate agent Don Pinheiro said, quote, he was top 10 over the top, flamboyant, all the bells and whistles, end quote. He had the royal name, the seal, the bodyguards, the jewelry, the entourage, and the business manager. Prince Khaled found his American palace in a $21 million condo.
Opulence.
He hired Perla Lici, a renowned interior designer who worked on Middle Eastern palaces previously. She told Vanity Fair, quote, he'd just spend and spend and spend, dumping out cash from Louis Vuitton duffel bags and tipping $100 bills to everyone, building managers, employees, handymen. He acted like he wanted privacy, but he wanted everybody talking about him. I live in a city of bullshit, and this guy's bullshit was through the roof, end quote. Unfortunately, he couldn't get funds together quickly enough to buy that $21 million palace, but he did remain close friends with Perla. At the same time, billionaire real estate dynasty heir Jeffrey Sofer was looking into renovating the famous Fontainebleau Miami Beach Hotel. On March 24th, 2017, Sofer got a call from an investment banker who represented Prince Khaled. She said the prince wanted to make an offer on the hotel that was $140 million over the market value price for 30% of the hotel.
So wildly outrageous pricing for not even the full property. Okay.
Wildly over asking price. And I don't know what market value is. I mean, it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
In May 2017, the prince and his investment banker and his beloved chihuahua, Roxy, pulled up to the Fontainebleau Miami Beach Hotel in a 2016 Ferrari with diplomatic plates. The two men started working on negotiations, which would be drawn out for months. In August, the prince brought Sofer and his business associates to his home on Fisher Island. His penthouse condo had Sultan written next to the doorbell, and he had a letter from the Bank of Dubai guaranteeing $600 million was available to the prince to invest. But there was a catch. The prince demanded that Sofer show his respect with gifts. He indicated that one of the customs of his country, Saudi Arabia, was the exchange of very lavish gifts during a negotiation process. So, Sofer, really interested in that extra $140 million, presented him with a Cartier bracelet worth $50,000 and other gifts totaling $150,000.
Damn.
And the prince was properly impressed. So negotiations continued, and then Sofer flew him out to his Aspen home, his $30 million Aspen home, to finish the negotiations. Sofer's team was making good progress, but a few issues came up on the financial background checks that they needed to clear up. At one point during the trip, he was in the lobby of the St. Regis Hotel in Aspen, where he was staying, when he received a call that someone was looking around his real estate holdings because he had claimed to own every single condo in the 54 luxury condo building he lived in, where he lived on Fisher Island. Yeah. And there was just a few discrepancies. They just needed to clear them up. According to Mark Seal from Vanity Fair, quote, having a thunderous meltdown, ranting and raving about a crime being committed against him, disrespect. He screamed, "You have insulted my honor. My father, the king, is going to be very upset. This is not how you do business with royalty," end quote. The tirade was so violent that his own business manager, Carl Marden Williamson, came running to calm him down. Another member of the entourage, a British investment banker who had connected him to the Sofers, was reduced to tears because they insulted him by questioning his financial holdings. So he was appeased at one point. And then to ease everything over, Sofer invited the prince to have dinner at a very swanky Aspen restaurant with his family. And there, the red flags were fucking raised.
Red flags. Tell me more of these red flags.
Prince Khaled bin Al Saud of Saudi Arabia, a devout Muslim, ordered an appetizer that shocked the group: prosciutto. In case you don't know, the Quran strictly forbids the consumption of pork. Unfortunately for the prince, Sofer was very aware of this tenet of the Muslim faith, and the flags were raised, but he didn't bring it up during the dinner because he knows his penchant for meltdowns. Following dinner, Sofer sent his team out to find out everything they possibly could about this man. And very, very quickly, it was clear that the prince was not all he said he was.
Okay.
And the State Department was immediately notified due to his diplomatic status. Federal agents planned to visit the prince, but they were thwarted by Hurricane Irma. And just in coincidence, the prince and his investment banker left the country for a little R&R in Paris and London and Hong Kong and Dubai.
You know, typical.
Yeah, but on November 19th, 2017, he presented a false passport at JFK Airport and was arrested. On his person, he was carrying hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash and jewelry. He did not handle the arrest with dignity. He was screaming, "I am a diplomat with diplomatic status," over and over and over again. And when that didn't work, he yelled, "I have national security information you would be interested in hearing."
Oh, God.
End quote. The authorities had finally caught up to him. But who the fuck was this man purporting himself to be a Saudi prince?
Who was this man?
What do you think? Have you heard anything about this? Is this familiar to you at all?
I don't think so.
Okay.
So I'm here for the ride, and I do believe that the Saudi king has
tons and tons of children.
Yeah, like hundreds of kids or something.
Well, don't worry. There's a real prince with his name. So he is who he says he is.
So he is who he says he is. Okay. I mean, I'm here.
Well, we'll see, but it seems legit to me.
Yeah. Gosh. That wasn't even in my periphery.
No. So Prince Khaled is a real Saudi prince. Jose Enrique Moreno was born in Bogota, Colombia, and he was one of the country's many throwaway children. His parents were unknown, and he spent the first 5 years on the streets looking after his little brother. Most in his situation were destined to become foot soldiers in violent drug wars. I want to stop and say that I got almost all of my information from 2 Vanity Fair articles by Mark Steele, and they are so good and they're so in depth. And every other article that I found quoted this article and got all their research from this Vanity Fair article. So it ended up all just coming from the same place. But it's so good. If you can, go read it. It's worth it. There's at least 2 articles that he did October 2018 and then one in 2019. Do yourself a favor. By his own account, he lived on the streets, and eventually an orphanage picked him up with his little brother. And then July 13th, 1977, a Michigan couple, Jim Gignac and Nancy Fitzgerald, came to Bogota to adopt Jose and his brother. He was renamed Anthony Enrique Gignac. From his early childhood on the street, Anthony dreamed of being rich and famous. He had a former friend say, quote, he wanted to be important, end quote. He started his cons young, telling kids at school that his mother was so rich, she owned the historic Grand Hotel on Mackinac Island. In first grade, this is something that he's telling people. He's trying to impress first graders with his wealth.
Oh, that's like, wow.
Yeah.
Because that's not even something that would have been on anyone's radar in my classroom growing up.
I wouldn't even know what that meant. I'd be like, cool, bro. In second grade, he tried to convince everyone that his biological father was Dom DeLuise to show that he had money. He started his Saudi prince shtick really young. In sixth grade, his mother got a call saying that her Mercedes was ready to be picked up. Somehow, Anthony had convinced a car dealership into believing he was a Saudi prince whose father was buying him a Mercedes. When no one picked up the car and no payment was made, the dealership called the police. They figured out what happened, and his parents immediately put him in therapy to figure out what the fuck was going on.
Saudi, jeez.
This is sixth grade. He's 11, 10, 11, 12.
11 and 12 probably-ish.
Yeah.
That's wild. That's wild. Yeah. Tell me more.
Things only got worse for Anthony as a teenager. When his parents divorced and his younger brother went to live with his father and he stayed with his mother, he had a mental breakdown and spent time in 2 psychiatric hospitals. But at 17, he ran away for good and he was on his own. P.S. His parents seemed like pretty decent, if not naive people.
That's a bummer.
Yeah. He ended up in Los Angeles, where he was very soon convicted of using credit cards in the name of Omar. I can't. Khashohi.
Khashohi.
Yeah. He rented a limo that ended up costing $8,650. I'm not good at reading numbers. It was around this time that he began alleging he had an ongoing sexual relationship with a Saudi prince when he wasn't pretending to be one himself.
I'm sorry, what?
He was about 17. This is when he began alleging he had an ongoing sexual relationship with a Saudi prince. Huh. But only when he wasn't pretending to be a Saudi prince. And then quoting Mark Seal from Vanity Fair, because homosexuality is a crime in Saudi Arabia, Gignac seemed to suggest that the prince was forced to support him for the rest of his life or face the consequences, end quote.
Wow, what a tangled web we weave.
From 1988 to 2019, Gignac would complete an incredible number of cons and mount an impressive 12 arrests.
12?
12, for basically all the same.
Oh, I got to hear all about this.
In 1991, Anthony claimed to legally change his name to Prince Khaled bin Al Saud, who is a real Saudi prince, but the records don't support his claim that he changed his name. He may have, but they haven't been able to show it. And his arrest records are all under Anthony Gignac. In 1991, the Los Angeles Times wrote an article called "The Prince of Fraud Pleads No Contest After a Merry Run." The story detailed his grifting of thousands of dollars in hotel rooms and limo rentals, shopping sprees on Rodeo Drive, and he pled no contest after the prosecution put on 17 witnesses attesting to his multitude of cons. From what I can tell, he spent about a year in prison. Immediately upon his release, he exacted the same con in San Francisco. He had a credit card in the name Khaled bin Al Saud. I'm trying my best. He got caught and spent another 53 days in prison before he split to Hawaii. This time, the con took on a slightly different flavor when he convinced a couple into writing a check for $8,500 for a share in an oil field he claimed to own. On the same trip, he somehow managed to convince a different couple to pay for his resort tab that was over $20,000 because he had convinced them that he was in danger and in fear of his life. He had a few more scams in between, but eventually police caught up with him in Chicago and extradited him to Florida for different cons where he grifted people out of $75,000 in resort tabs and false donations or investments.
Wow. I got to hear how these hotel tabs, that is what I'm interested most to hear.
We're not really going to, we'll go into it. We're not going to talk about the hotel tab specifically. We'll go into how lavish our prince really is.
Absolutely.
While he was awaiting trial, he contacted multiple attorneys as the prince, and attorney Oscar Rodriguez in Miami agreed to take the case after being told his daddy, the king, was going to foot the bill. Rodriguez was about... This is... Okay, you are not ready for what's about to happen. Okay? I need you to prepare yourself. It's about to get hysterical and outrageous.
I cannot wait. Is there camp? Is it camp?
It's something.
It's something.
Okay, so Rodriguez was about to get him out of jail. He was going to post bond for him. He had 2 bondspeople, and they picked him up from jail after posting a $46,000 bond, and they brought him to Rodriguez's office to wait for Daddy's money to come in over the wire for the services of the attorney and for the bond. It never came. Mm-hmm. The attorney told him he was going back to jail. Anthony did everything he could to keep that from happening, but they were back on the road, back to jail, when on the way, the prince spotted his salvation in the form of an American Express store. I guess credit card companies used to have stores. I couldn't find anything else about it.
Okay.
I don't know. Anthony somehow convinced the attorney and the bondspeople to stop. Uh-huh. He got out of the car and he threw on his best fake tears and he sobbed to the employees that he had been mugged and his credit cards were stolen. Also, his daddy, the king of Saudi Arabia, was going to be most upset. American Express agreed to issue a new credit card on the spot if he could confirm the last 2 purchases made on the account, because the real prince had an American Express card.
Oh.
And maybe he really was the prince because he got both of the last 2 purchases, one in California, one in Paris, correct. On a side note, not only is he impersonating a member of the royal Saudi family, he has now successfully committed identity theft against a monarch's son.
That is some heavy fucking stakes right there.
The card had a $2 million limit on it.
Oh my God.
More than enough to cover his bond.
Holy crap. Well,
what's a fake prince to do with a real royal's credit card? Shopping spree! He immediately bought 2 Rolex watches and a diamond bracelet. He decided to go back to Michigan for a bit, so he took one of his bondspeople with him and booked every seat in a first-class cabin because the prince shouldn't have to deal with the peasants. And all I could find out about this trip is he went to a college where his friend was doing either teaching or a student. I don't really remember. And he told them that he was going to give them some crazy amount of money for a scholarship. And then they went home the same day. I don't know.
Lifestyles of the rich and famous.
It doesn't make any sense. I couldn't figure out what that was about. Not long after, Amex's fraud department came calling. Somehow, his attorney found out. Somebody called him screaming that he was committing identity theft against a Saudi prince.
Oh my crap. Oh my god.
So his attorney was flipping out, but he was a little conflicted because when the attorney found out about this,
yes,
Anthony was on a plane to New York with his wife and daughter. Because they were going to New York and he offered to upgrade their tickets and bought out all of first class for them.
Oh my God.
And then when they landed, he rented an entire floor of the Four Seasons Hotel where Rodriguez had finally called and gotten in touch with his wife and told her to keep him in his room. So crazy.
This is
my favorite story ever.
This is
it's
really
incredible. It's
not
even anything yet. Okay. Rodriguez and the bondspeople were on the next flight to New York and confronted him at the hotel, where he predictably had a beautiful meltdown, screaming that he was going to call the embassy and that he wasn't going to go back to Miami. The Vanity Fair article quotes one of the bondspeople at the scene by saying, "You're right, you're going out the fucking window." He picked up Gignac, he threw him across the room, and the prince hit the wall and landed in a heap. He came up and said, "I'll go to Miami."
Oh, fine, I'll do it.
You're not ready. It's going to get worse for Anthony on this trip. But the prince didn't give up. At LaGuardia Airport, While O'Connell, the bonds guy, was booking 3 seats to Miami, Gignac spotted 3 airport police officers, and he screamed, "I'm Prince Khaled bin Al Saud. I have been kidnapped," pointing at the bonds guy, screaming, "He has a gun." Cops came out of the woodwork, and he said, quote, "I have a shotgun against my head because they think I've kidnapped a prince," O'Connell recalls. The prince was still yelling, "If there are any of my royal subjects here, please call the embassy and CNN."
Oh my gosh. The hubris of this man.
Oh, it's so good. In LaGuardia Airport.
He is leaning in.
Oh, so hard.
Oh my God.
After O'Connell showed the police his paperwork that he was the bondsman, the cops dispersed, and rather than risk another incident, the bondsman rented a car for the 24-hour drive to Miami. As an added precaution, quote, "They threw Gignac in the trunk of the car. We rested along the way and took him out of the trunk. That's when he finally told us he wasn't a prince. He gave us his real name, where he was born, everything. They took him back to prison and got their bond money back."
Just like that?
Mm-hmm.
He folds just like that.
He's a very weak man.
Oh my God.
He's a very weak man. So, if you'll remember, our story started in 2017.
I will not.
We started in 2017. We are only in 1994.
My God.
Yeah. So while he was still in prison, he contacted Syracuse University as the prince and offered a $45 million donation if they could wire the amount to cover taxes, $16,000, to an account in Michigan. And they did. It was his little brother's account.
Yeah.
Both brothers were very quickly caught and convicted, earning our prince another 46 months in jail.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. It was 1994. I guess that's the only excuse.
And that's excuse enough, to be honest.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, this is also an incredible grift. And really, most people would have thought, that why would this be a lie? I mean, why would you wire $16,000 after a phone call? But.
Amen.
I mean, it was 1994. I don't know what culture was like. We were very trusting, I guess.
I guess we were very trusting people back then.
Soon after, he got another 37 months added for a total of 83 months because he lit his jail cell on fire after he covered the floor in shampoo to mess the guards up as he planned his great escape.
Ooh, slick.
It did
Get it?
not work. So he was slippery and the floor was slippery.
Slick move, son.
His plan was to be slippery, to break out of prison.
This is like a Home Alone movie, kind of booby trap.
Yeah, that's where his head was. He's in his early 20s by now.
I
think. Or mid-20s, somewhere around there. By 1996, he had another lawyer on the hook while he was in jail. But the grift was a little different. This time, his uncle, Prince Walid bin Talal, apologies, owed him properties that he was trying to transfer to our prince. And he just needed some help from the attorney. One day, the attorney, who asked to be anonymous for obvious reasons, got a call from Anthony and asked him to pick up his other attorney. This attorney knew that he was bringing someone else in for the criminal part of it. And so he gets a call from Anthony. He says, "Hey, can you go pick up our other attorney from the airport? And then all 3 of you are going to come and meet me at the jail." So he goes and he picks up the new attorney, and it was Johnny Cochran and law partner Carl Douglas, fresh off of his OJ win.
Dang. Who knew Johnny Cochran was going to have a cameo?
He got Johnny Cochran to fly to Miami to go and talk to him. Say what you will about this idiot. He's convincing. This is his second lawyer.
His second lawyer is Johnny Cochran.
And, of course, his partner. Wow. Yeah. Johnny and the other attorneys met for about 2 hours. Johnny said he tried to trip him up to get him to, reveal an untruth or admit who he was. He ultimately couldn't shake him. He was very consistent in who he said he was. And ultimately, he didn't take the case because there were too many questions regarding the authenticity for Johnny.
I see.
Okay. It's so good. It's nowhere. I couldn't get over. I was floored by this Johnny Cochran thing.
Yes, this cameo appearance.
Johnny Cochran could not, and his other lawyer, the one who went to pick him up, this is a Yale law school graduate. And he also, like, reading the article was kind of sad. He was very hard on himself for being conned. He's like, I cross-examine people for a living, and this idiot, and I cannot wait for you to see him. Oh, I can't wait for you to see him.
Oh, I cannot wait.
You're not ready. You can't look. I
have not. I swear, I have not looked at all.
Okay. By the early 2000s, he was back with his mother in Michigan. On a night out with his mother and her partner, psychologist Lisa Whitehead, Lisa recalled to Mark Seal, quote, "We took him to dinner at the only restaurant we had here in Eaton Rapids, full of rednecks and their families. And he comes in wearing a white fur coat and driving a white Cadillac. He had acrylic nails and all this gold around his neck and silk shirts, very flamboyant and feminine. And everybody come and look at me type guy."
Mm-hmm. Snaps.
This is our Saudi prince. I mean, when you look at it, like, it seems like a good time. He then hired Lisa's 17-year-old daughter to be his personal assistant. From the same article, quote, "Everywhere they went, people went out of their way to help the prince. A car rental agency gave him 2 Cadillacs without asking for a credit card. He dined without checks, shopped without bills, all thanks to what Gignac called his, quote, royal boo, implying that a Saudi prince was picking up the tab. He said he was a kept man," Jessica said, "and he was well taken care of."
The grift is strong
so
with
lucky.
him. Yes.
The grift is so strong, but also imagine just being kept for like a minute. Ugh.
I know.
I would never be able to stand for it. I would get bored in a minute, but it would be nice for like a minute. All right. On January 3rd, 2003, he was arrested in Michigan for impersonating a diplomat. He had charged $11,300 at Saks Fifth Avenue to what he claimed was his, quote, family account, which actually belonged to a real Saudi princess, Fadwa Al Saud. He also charged more than $17,000 to an account in the real prince's name, Prince Khaled, at Neiman Marcus, where he threatened employees for not showing proper respect to a royal. He was not at all done scamming, and he held out on his lies so closely, even telling diplomat security service officers that he had sexual relationships with multiple Saudi princes and that he'd been officially adopted by Prince Al-Walid and given a diplomatic passport, which he had. He had a diplomatic passport. Having learned 0 lessons thus far, after he was released in 2011, he was ready to party. He went to the legendary Chicha Lounge and Spa in the Florida Keys and offered $200 million for the 27-acre resort. But the hotel's director of security didn't buy his act, and soon Gignac found himself back in Michigan court for a violation, and he got another year in prison. Fresh out of jail, Anthony now had a whole new gig. He knew that Americans would absolutely not be able to tell the difference between his Colombian ethnicity and a Saudi prince, and he was so correct. I can't wait for you to see this guy. Everyone should be embarrassed. In addition to Instagram, he also got a somewhat legitimate business partner in Carl Williamson, an English transplant in North Carolina. Williamson was a bit of a con artist himself with a little bit of legitimacy matched in, but I mean, he was no match for Anthony. Compared to Anthony, I should say. Anthony had him set up an investment company for the two of them, and he worked without a contract or a salary and created the company Marden Williamson International LLC. Together they convinced people.
Okay.
Together they convinced people he was the real prince. Williamson worked in finance and investments and had the connections Anthony needed. Soon he was backing up Anthony's lies and telling everyone that they meant that they'd known each other for 20 years and that he could vouch for him. He got Anthony connected to investment bankers who deal exclusively in high wealth clients. Williamson produced statements to these people showing that the prince had $2 billion in the bank and that he owned a $600 million property, including the palatial new Four Seasons Hotel at the Surf Club in Miami. Together, the two con artists had convinced investors to wire more than $7 million to their shell investment company. By early 2017, Anthony finished his parole in Michigan and was set free. And that's where we started our little tale.
Okay.
And he was caught. And to this day has not dropped the act. He has absolutely convinced himself that he is the prince.
Oh my God.
But yeah, it's fucking crazy.
And so, first off, I still can't wait to see what he looks like.
Oh my God. So good.
This just seems like a breakdown on a lot of levels. Not mental breakdown. I mean, a breakdown of societal norms on a lot of levels where...
Also, there was so much more information out there about this. There was no way I could ever hope to put everything he did into an episode.
Into one episode. So
much. Honestly, I would love to do a deep dive into this guy's life. So... his breakdowns were spectacular. He had no problem throwing a fit. And these people, I mean, who thinks about lying to be a Saudi prince?
Yes.
Why would you lie? Especially in the 90s and whatever. And who's going to challenge you? And then he throws this, like, you can see he's like driving a Ferrari. He's got millions of dollars in jewelry all over him. His dog has its own diamond crusted Louis Vuitton carrier a la Paris Hilton 2003. It's incredible. And he didn't just he conned like lawyers. He conned veteran investors, government officials.
Ooh, I loved how you just said investors.
Oh, I didn't mean it. Investors. Investors. Like the DSS, when they came to like raid his place, a 9-year-old kid stopped this guy and said, "Are you a DSS officer?" And the guy was like, "What the fuck?" And he goes, "How do you know what that is?" And he goes, "Oh, the prince upstairs. He has the same officers as bodyguards." He had badges for these bodyguards that were more convincing than this guy's own real badge. But they were just his regular ass. He bought his diplomatic license plates on eBay. And so what really got him, what really took this guy down was fucking prosciutto. So that is...
Where he ate it and everyone was like,
nobody said anything. But that is where the red flags went off. And that was ultimately what took him down in this particular con. And every other time he'd gotten 1 year, 2 years, 37 months. He got 18 years in federal prison.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Can you please look him up now?
Yes.
Okay. Look up Anthony Gignac.
Anthony Gignac. Anthony ooh. What?
What do you mean?
This is Miss Swan. From Matt TV. I'm not going to do the voice, but that is Miss Swan.
You're so right. Yeah. That's our boy. The prince. The Saudi prince. Yeah.
The whole time.
Yeah. The whole time I kept thinking, I'm like, how is nobody able to verify this? With the Brits, we know who the royalty are, right?
Right.
We know even the more distant ones, we could verify who they are. And that's because the Saudi king has so many sons, many princes that most people don't know who they all are. But yeah, this was a real prince. It was there's so much more. And then that interior designer, she was close friends with him. She had all these stories about going around town. He would talk about his Saudi prince boyfriend all the time. They just would go out and clear out shops and have $10,000 lunches all the time. So whatever he was doing something right because he had this money. Even if it was stolen, he had it and he spent it. And his Instagram account is incredible. I don't know if it's still available. Available. But it is just incredible.
God. Oh yeah, flexing with the Lamborghinis and putting his ring, that like same ring is being shown everywhere. Wow.
He would like rent these like super yachts and have parties, and then when people are like, "What happened to your yacht?" And he would just say, "Oh, I got bored with it." And he convinced himself that he was this person. At first, where he was sentenced to 18 years, he had pled guilty, and then he took it back and went to trial and maintained that he was not lying, that he was the prince.
Oh my God, this is insane.
And I just couldn't, when I found out that they look at him and imagine him in the trunk of a car for 24 hours.
Oh my gosh.
In 1994.
What?
Yeah.
What?
The Bonds guy threw him across the room in that New York hotel room, which I'm not advocating for, but it's outrageous.
This guy, I mean, I didn't think at all this is what he was going to look like. Right. I looked him up. Ooh.
Oh God, it's so good. But he's been doing this as recently as 2017.
Okay. Damn.
He was such a gifted grifter.
Wow. Yeah, that level of nerve that you have to have to double and triple down on something when you
millions.
Oh,
millions of dollars. The things that really stuck out for me, honestly, were the American Express thing, which I still can't get over how he would have been able to guess the last two purchases on that account.
That one is a stretch.
I mean, he had to know that prince had an account. And not only that he had an account, but that he had been in California and Paris and made the purchases that he made. It was a $2 million credit line.
Oh my God.
And then this prince had to be like, what the fuck? What is this? He's like, of course I don't know who this person is.
Oh my gosh.
He had to make official statements to be like, I don't know him. We don't know him. He's not ours.
He doesn't even go here.
No. I was just like, oh my God, can you imagine?
Oh my God,
just
I cannot.
You and this person who's very clearly not you. And you're just like, guys, he doesn't look anything like me.
I don't
but
know.
He's white and he has a beard, so.
Oh my God.
So it's basically you.
Damn. And so he's going to be in jail for a very long time?
Yep. 18 years.
Yeah.
Nobody believed his bullshit anymore.
Does he have any parole opportunity or is it just 18?
Let me see. I was looking at one article. I didn't have a lot of time, unfortunately. Okay, so he pled to impersonating a foreign diplomat, aggravated identity theft, wire fraud, conspiracy to commit wire fraud, and then 2 months later, more than 18 years in federal prison. Oh, this must have been what I watched. It was an episode of American Greed on CNBC. And it was called The Fake Prince's Royal Scam. It was decent. It was interesting. Wow. I couldn't stop going, him? Seriously, the whole time. I'm like, this guy? He might have, listen, he was just covered in diamonds and ordering people around and throwing hissy fits and living his best life.
Jesus
for a while.
Christ. That's a level. Yeah. That's a level of cray-cray.
And it's so much more than there's so much more than that. At one point, he and the investment banker, there's this real oil company that was about to go public, and they had convinced all of these investors that they were the highest stakeholders in this company that was about to go public, and they got over $8 million to invest just for that, and it was all fake. Wow. Thank you for listening to my little story.
Yes. And who would play him in a movie?
Jack Galifianakis.
Zach Galifianakis.
It's the only he's the only person I can see getting this personality right, even though they don't look anything alike. Because remember, he's not Saudi. He is a boy from Bogota.
Colombia. Yeah. Wild. I love it. Thank you.
I was so excited putting this together. This story, researching this story got me through this terrible bar week. It was so much fun.
Oh, God. It was a great story, too. I was captivated. This dude, I just keep thinking how much
do yourself a favor and look him up.
Oh, yes. Oh, God, yes.
The hubris is like nothing I've ever seen.
Well, that certainly was a true crime story for the ages. That was super fun. Thank you. Okay.
Ooh, she's spooky. She's spooky.
She is spooky. I'm trying to change the vibe of the feel of the episode.
Okay, well, what's the feel? Should I turn up the lights? Should I take my clothes off? What are we doing?
Just intro me and you go for the ride.
Well, Kevin, what do you have for me, Mr. Spook? Take that out. What do you have for me, good sir?
Oh, well, I think I have a story to tell you. I think I have something. Yeah, today was something that really caught my eye, and I was going to be talking about something completely different. And then this came across. I had to write up a story about this one because it just was so interesting. And I don't believe I've ever heard of it before, too. So I wonder if you have. So today we are going to be talking about an American folklore, a lesser-known cryptid. Today, I'm going to take you up to the upper Midwest, those kind of northern states like Michigan and Wisconsin and Minnesota.
We're going back.
We're going to be
Michigan.
Up there.
Okay.
And when the United States was forming and there were territories that were expanding, what else was there to do for a lumberjack who kind of no longer knew the whereabouts of his work friend? Did they simply disappear? Did his logging friend, his lumberjack friend, just up and leave to a different area to find work? The upper Midwest was very new to the white man.
Wild.
It was wild. Yeah. It was rugged. Well, today I'm going to be talking about an American cryptid known as the Hidebehind. The Hidebehind.
Okay, the hide, like a shadow?
It's all one word, the Hidebehind.
Okay. All right, I respect it.
Yes. Oftentimes in the early 19th century, lumberjacks and even some hikers today tell of a tale of a fearsome creature, a fearsome critter, in fact. The Hidebehind is a nocturnal, fearsome critter that preys upon humans that wander the woods.
How dare you?
With their aggressive disposition and their thirst for blood, and specifically intestines.
Ew.
They stalk, hunt, and ultimately eat humans. Which kind of explains why there were a lot of lumberjacks that were telling the tale.
Oh my gosh.
According to some accounts, it is said that the Hidebehind is about 6 feet tall, covered in the long, dense black hair on all sides of it. So it kind of it completely shields its face. So no one actually has seen what the face of a Hidebehind looks like.
So like a not like a Sasquatch then?
Not like a Sasquatch, but it does walk on 2 legs. It is bipedal.
Okay. But like instead of like the face is, it's like your whole face is a beard?
I mean, yes, I guess it's kind of like an English sheepdog where their face just is covered with hair. And they do have red, glowing, terrifying eyes, though. So if you do see that,
then that.
Yeah, then
Listen,
beware.
If I see that, I'm probably going to pass out.
It gets its name by being a shapeshifter of sorts. That was hard for me to say.
A shapeshifter of sorts. It's like your face got stuck.
A shapeshifter of sorts. There it is. There it is.
There he is.
So the Hidebehind is a shapeshifter where it can jump from tree to tree. And it literally hides behind a tree. So that's how it evades being seen. It can contort itself to be as thin as like a 10-inch tree. So it hides behind a trunk of a tree.
So it has to be like behind a tree. It's not like just behind anything?
Typically, yes.
Okay.
Most of the stories, if not all of them, dealt with trees. Yeah. That's how it uses to hunt its prey.
And this prey are humans.
Mm-hmm.
I hate this.
Leaping from its hiding place with a demonic laugh, it swiftly disembowels its victims with one swipe. It has short, stubby arms with razor-like claws.
Jesus.
It also has some stubby legs as well, but they're quite muscular, and they also have sharp, sharp claws.
This is like if Spring-Heeled Jack was a cryptid.
Yeah.
Like, I just keep thinking of him.
And I feel like it hunts humans like that ninja cat video, that viral video from years ago where there's a kitten that's like trying to stalk the camera person, and each time the camera moves from behind a wall, it gets closer and closer.
Sure.
But yes, so the arms and the legs have these very sharp claws, which is presumably also used to drag the bodies of burly men back to the lair and get devoured. A highly dangerous animal the Hidebehind is, but its only known weakness is an aversion to the odor of alcohol.
Oh, cool.
Never has it been known to attack someone who's drunk, so therefore, getting hammered is considered a sufficient repellent to the gruesome beast.
Done.
Done and done.
Oh, so you're saying I have to get drunk? Okay, I guess.
You're like, okay.
If that's the only way to do it, I guess I have to.
Mm-hmm. So could you picture the brawny paper towel guy getting disemboweled by like a mutant-looking cousin It? And
God, apologies to that guy.
I'm sorry to that man.
Yeah, it's a hard way to go. But I mean, I would assume if you've been disemboweled, I would assume you're dead. That was terrifying to hear your creaky door in the background.
Ooh, you know? Mm-hmm. That was unplanned. What can I say?
Okay, go on. You're freaking me out.
Sorry. While most folkloric beasts were comical to these lumberjacks, the Hidebehind was actually feared.
They were actually scared of him?
I mean, I think so, if you believe the stories.
These big brawny dudes.
Being a horrific murderer that would stalk its prey.
You're right.
You wouldn't be able to see it until its last fucking second.
Well, at least
and just gets you.
Okay, I don't appreciate those sound effects at all. You could stop immediately.
So I have a hard time believing that the Hidebehind is a real cryptid.
Why?
Well,
how dare you?
It is based on the idea that no one's really seen it before because of how it stalks. So that's my
I mean, it's essentially a shadow.
Yeah, a hairy shadow.
Nice.
And reading more about it, I think these were just stories that these lumberjacks told each other while they were sitting around a fire, getting drunk.
Oh, they're like, we have to do this to keep keep the monster away.
They were getting drunk, and maybe some of them, it was used as like a way to explain their new mysterious surroundings. Like, I've never heard that sound before. Maybe it's a monster.
Maybe it's the Hidebehind.
I think it was like a way for them to keep, vigilant out there too when they're working.
Right. Look,
because it was a dangerous job.
Yeah, no, and I'm sure they had to watch people die all the time.
And I'm sure they also got attacked by bears and maybe wolves. And
God, like literally anything. That's creepy. But I feel like it's a solid folktale, though.
Mm-hmm. I think it would be very terrifying to be stalked and hunted by a Hidebehind as well.
I think it sounds pretty terrifying.
Yeah, me too. So that is the Hidebehind.
This was like up in Minnesota, Michigan, that area?
Yeah, Minnesota, Michigan, like Wisconsin, those upper states.
I wonder if it was Canadian.
That could be. Yeah.
Maybe he lived in Canada.
He just came on down.
And he just comes down every once in a while.
But that is the fearsome creature, the Hidebehind.
I don't like that voice. I'm alone, and it's very creepy.
Do you think I could get into voice acting?
If you're looking to creep people out, yeah. I mean, you have a very good, deep, scary voice. I mean, it scares me. I don't know if it scares anybody else.
Does it scare anybody else? Comment below. That was stupid. Yay, well, look at us. Episode 13. This was not an unlucky episode at all.
Yeah. I'm really creeped out by your bullshit. Thanks.
You're welcome. Yeah, it's just like a little old tale of a monster that can hide behind the skinniest of things, and you'll never be able to see it. And yeah, you're right. It's classic.
It could be real, or it could be a figment of your imagination. Mm-hmm. You've been out there for a while. Maybe you haven't been sleeping very well. There's been a lot of weird noises. There's a lot of dangerous animals.
Do you hear those rustling leaves? Is that because of something?
Is it the wind, or
and
is
also, like, where's
Ron?
Ron go? I met him, and we worked all the time logging and being out in the forest, and then one day he was gone.
We were gonna go out. We'd really made a connection.
We really did. We even fucked. We even did that.
This is turning into fan fiction.
Erotic fan fiction.
Erratic
and erotic.
Erratic sounds stressful. Erratic friction. No, that sounds very stressful. We should when I'm done the bar, we should try out some erratic.
Oh, I love it. I think we should give that a go as a side project. Yeah. Well, thank you for listening to it, Miss. I appreciate it.
Thanks. Of course. Thank you for telling it. And
I loved your story. That is such a dumb way to be conned.
I mean, you have to feel kind of dumb, but so many people. Very high business people, lawyers, doctors. He scammed
hospitality.
Hospitality, just regular people. He scammed out of 20,000. He was very good at figuring out like someone's like weak point. Like what would make this person bend to me? Like what is their trigger point? And he was very good at figuring that out. But yeah, there's a set of Forbes articles that they did too. I would just highly recommend looking into them.
I will, like, because
and like I said, there's just so much more. If we were doing a different podcast, I would have made it a 2-parter probably.
Yes. Oh, I mean, this is just, yeah. Well, yay. Well, thank you for everybody tuning in. We love that you guys have been joining us every Wednesday to listen to these fun and often like weird stories. Outrageous stories.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah, Miss, where can they find us?
They can find us on Instagram at That's SpookyPod. You can email us at thatspookypod@gmail.com.
No, that's a whole other different. No, that's not us at all.
Oh my God, please cut that.
I will.
Okay.
That's not us. So, Miss, where can they find us, actually?
You can find us at Creepy InQueeries Pod on Instagram, at creepyinquiriespod@gmail.com if you want to drop a question or a suggestion. Also, if you want to leave us a rate or review on Apple or anywhere else that you're listening, please feel free to do that.
Yes, please.
But yeah, we're at Creepy InQueeries Pod on all the stuffs.
On all of it. Yeah, so we have new episodes every Wednesday.
We'll see you then.
But until next week. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.